What are you doing here?
She gave me her key for emergencies, and I've kind of been using it to hang out when she's not here. What are you doing here?
I had the key first.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to figure out how to share this space, I guess.
Mm-hmm. How many people are in my house? Chris? Alexia? What are you people doing in my house? Oh my god, you're home!
Welcome home!
We've been
How was your
waiting
day?
for you. Did you save any lives?
Did you eat? We have food for you.
I miss you.
You're out of wine.
I guess this is my life now. Alrighty. Move over. Let's split the mortgage. Welcome to another episode of If I Could Churn Back Time. Today's guest is actually very important to this show. She's one of the biggest reasons that we're doing this show. Welcome, Hannah. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. It's a pleasure to be here.
And how do you guys know each other?
We met in med school.
Oh, right. The suffering for like 4 years.
Mhm.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That ends, right? You become a doctor and you stop suffering?
No,
No.
I think it keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are gonna kind of be like war buddies, right? After this is all over.
Yeah, like the suffragettes, but it keeps going and
Yeah.
it's modern.
And
We're
it's
still
traumatic.
So Hannah, what kind of ice cream are we gonna be making today?
So today we're going to be making a chocolate lavender ice cream. As you can see from our ingredients, chocolate and lavender.
Why are we making chocolate lavender ice cream?
Yeah, so, as we dive into my psyche, we realize that a lot of the things I've done, are often not the things that I should be doing, that I know in my mind. So this time I decided, I spent a lot of time thinking about what ice cream we should make. And, I was looking at all these reasons that I should do things. And then I realized, screw that. I really like lavender. Lavender is very peaceful and calming, and as someone with a very high level of anxiety, lavender is pretty much like my heroine. But then chocolate is also just really nice. So I decided, instead of hyper overthinking this and thinking about what my mom would want me to do, instead I'm going to do what I want to do, which is chocolate and lavender. And apparently it makes really good ice cream. So that's our plan for today.
Excellent.
And that's what we're gonna find out is, does chocolate and lavender make a really good ice cream? First, we're going to mix all the dry ingredients together. You've got a half cup of sugar. Next, 2 tablespoons of dry milk powder. A 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, or other stabilizer.
So why are we using xanthan gum?
Because it gives the ice cream this sort of the texture, that mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's what makes it less soft serve and more like, what's it called? Hard serve? What's the word for that?
It's basically.
Okay.
All right, so this stuff's gonna go on the stove. So we've got a pot. First, we're gonna put in 1 1/4 cups of whole milk.
Ooh, what a smooth pour.
Saved it all.
Got it. Nicely done.
And then 2 tablespoons of corn syrup.
How do you, should we scoop this out? I feel like I'm burping a baby here.
We're actually gonna see how long you would keep doing that. Yeah. We'll scrape the rest out with the spatula.
Yeah, burp that baby.
I feel like I'm pulling out my inner Martha Stewart. What would I do if I was Emerald? So if I say pow or bam or whatever,
boom.
That's my suppressed childhood coming back.
Nice, nice. That's what we're here for. We're here to relive all of your traumas, but together.
Next, we're gonna whisk in the dry stuff into the wet stuff and then move it over to the stove.
This is A+.
Is this good?
Mm-hmm.
Is this right?
Perfect.
Yeah, outstanding.
Thank you.
Yeah, get an L for this rotation.
Yay. Wow. I'm so proud. Ooh. Ooh, she fit. Is that appropriate?
That's
more,
perfect.
More whisking? Less
No,
whisking?
this is perfect.
Okay, great.
So now we're going to put it on the stove to heat everything up. Because we're adding ingredients to it, we've got to figure out when to best introduce those into the mix.
Right.
So first we're going to take our dark chocolate, which is chopped up, not too small, but enough where it'll melt. We're going to melt that in the milk and the corn syrup and all the dry stuff. And we're also going to add in our lavender. This is a flour, so we're going to steep it like a tea. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of this and an entire bar of dark chocolate.
Wow. I'm super excited about
It
this.
smells so good.
It smells like decadent.
I just didn't think chocolate and lavender would smell so good together.
So now that we've got everything cooled off, chocolate's in there, the lavender's in there, we've got to get those buds out of there. Got to find a strainer. Let's hope it strains. It's so thick. It's like chocolate syrup.
Look at that.
It's straining
working though.
Oh, wow. I do see the lavender buds.
Now, if we left those in there, and you,
Just get a bite of
Eat
lavender.
them?
yeah, would that be the worst thing in the world?
It's not anti-nutritious, right?
I just wonder texture if it would work.
It's probably not a
'Cause
good
you'd have
texture
frozen
because it's like
flowers.
a seed,
It
right?
would, yeah, it would be like eating sunflower seeds in the
Mhm.
middle of your
Ice cream.
ice cream, which I don't imagine being nearly as decadent as the process.
No.
First of all, I got a lavender. Not that bad. Second of all, oh my god.
So does it taste like it could use a little more cream, maybe?
Yeah, we could throw in more cream.
Cool.
I support that.
Because that's our last step, is to add 1.25 cups of heavy whipping cream.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Can I whip it?
Whip it.
Whip it real good. I think I'm like confused by this ice cream a little bit because it's kind of like relaxing at the same time as it's like decadent.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how to relax is the issue here.
Sure. So now that we've got all mixed together, it's a nice chocolatey color. We're gonna put it in the fridge, 30 minutes, let everything settle, and then churn it in our ice cream maker. And then we'll taste it.
Oh my god. This feels like a therapist trying to urge you to comb back through all your memories. You got the lavender to soothe you, but the chocolate to reassure you. Wow.
It's nice because you get the lavender right away, and then the dark chocolate kind of cleans it.
Exactly. It's like the lavender comes in immediately to soothe you and confuse you. But then the chocolate comes in to reassure you, like, this is ice cream. And it tastes good.
Ice cream doesn't usually smell good. You know?
I would use this as a diffuser. You know?
It's so good. It's just the right amount of sweet. And it's so fragrant.
It gets better as you keep eating it too.
Yeah, I can't stop.
There's something about like how the flavors meld together.
I feel so relaxed.
So, if I could turn back time, I would go back to, picture this, 2012, summer. The sun is shining. And I'm in the midst of beginning my college decisions. And, you know, of course, college decisions are a very big deal, especially for a small girl from semi-rural Kentucky who's never experienced the world. And, you know, a lot of people say college is your time to, you know, broaden your horizons. And I, like the dumb teenager that I was, didn't. I had a boyfriend who, you know, told me, like, let's stay in Kentucky. We'll, you know, get married once we turn, you know, once you turn 18, and we'll get married and everything will be great. You'll go to med school. I'll support you through med school and everything will be great. And in my mind, I was like, this is my future. Like, I have a man, like, I'm stable. And I, you know, took stability, like perceived stability, over like actually following what I wanted. And so then I stayed in Kentucky for college. I only applied to Kentucky schools other than Harvard, which I applied to Harvard and then I messed up my application. For anybody who has the Common App, like, it's awful. But I forgot to submit my research essay, so none of my research was on my application. So they, of course, rejected me. Like, teardrop. But
Big mistake, Harvard.
Big mistake. Yeah, screw you guys. But it worked out in the end. It's fine. But yeah, so I only applied to Kentucky schools thinking like I'm doing what's best for me because I have stability here with someone and I'm established. I have a way to go and I know my path. So instead of, like broadening my horizons like the rest of my friends, I stayed in Kentucky because this guy told me I should. And then I stayed in Kentucky for all of college and we broke up 2 years later, shockingly, because for some reason he was controlling. And that's so shocking.
Surprise.
Looking back, it's so surprising. But, if I could turn back time, I would go back to when I was picking the colleges I applied to. And I would say, don't make decisions based on other people. Purely do what will be best for your future, especially in such a important amount of time. And so if I could turn back time, I would say to myself, apply to colleges, not just in Kentucky. Broaden your horizons, look other places because you don't know the kinds of people you'll meet. And I was lucky and I got to redo it for med school and I got to apply everywhere that I wanted and I ended up here and meeting all of you guys. And so I luckily got to not churn back time, but get a redo on my churn. Whatever.
You got to return.
I got to return. And when I returned to the true things that I should have done. And that was broadening my horizons, moving to a city where I didn't know anyone. And now I found my home, my happy place where I can make decisions like making chocolate lavender ice cream because I just decided I wanted to instead of listening to the opinions of people around me who might tell me to, try vanilla, which I don't like, is boring and you should never stay at vanilla. It's wrong.
Take offense to that.
Good. So I this time broadened my horizons, applied to literally like 20 different cities, and then found out where I'd end up, and then started a brand new life by myself for the first time. And if I could have done that 4 years earlier, that would have been a blessing. But here I am now. I'm happy where I am, and I have you guys as friends, and I'm so happy about that.
We are very happy about it, too. Do you ever think about where you would have ended up?
Yeah, so I always wonder, like, had I not stayed in Kentucky for college, like, what kind of people would I have met, like, earlier? Would I have learned about, diversity earlier? Because Kentucky is not quite a diverse location for people. Most diversity, I think, is in accents. So, yeah, I think looking back, like, I was so lost in the sauce of having a boyfriend and a future and, having a potential family that I could start. And I was so focused on that I didn't take the time to look into my own future and my own potential. And so had I done that earlier, who knows where I would have been. But this is where I am now, and I'm happy with where I am.
So, Hannah, you're still pretty early in your career. You're kind of starting out, but you got a strong start. You know where you're going.
Vaguely, yeah.
Do you think had you not had this sort of pivot in your life that you'd be as confident in where you are right now? Like, were you kind of on autopilot?
Yeah, so that's what I kind of think about. Is like, obviously, a lot of young medical professionals, before they enter med school, are like, I know I'm going to be a doctor, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's my goal. And I thought, I'm going to go to med school, and this is it. So in my mind, I was like, I'll just pick a college. It doesn't matter what college I go to. And then I'll pick a med school. It doesn't matter what med school I go to. And then I'll move on. But then after I left this relationship, I got really into, like, my academics. Not that I guess, wasn't into it before, but I got really into my research. And I actually got so deep into my research that I realized that research was incredibly important to me because medicine, as you're very aware, is really incredible in the way that you have to think through things in order to get to the diagnoses and to think through your differentials. But with research, it got to a different side of me. So my fun fact is I actually majored in math and did math research for 4 years.
Wow.
So I was very into math and logical thinking and computer science. And had it not been for the time that I took in those 4 years to stay at this institution, get really into research, I never would have discovered an MD PhD. And had I never discovered an ND PhD, I would have never started applying for these programs and ended up where I am here in Chicago. And I think staying at that institution and doing that research really changed me as a person and made me appreciate the risk I had to take when I went to med school and went to a new city completely by myself. And I think having messed up so gravely at my college applications and not taking the risk and moving somewhere else, I think I had a much more mature decision when it came to applying to med school and inevitably MD PhD. And I think that's made me into a much wiser person in terms of making emotional decisions versus the one that actually feels right on the inside. And so I think while I wish I could churn back time, I'm thankful I made the mistake then because I made much better decisions later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, bravo.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's like the bad pancake, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta make a bad pancake so you know what a bad pancake is.
You gotta know what the bad pancake looks, because if you don't make the bad pancake, you won't get that beautiful, decadent, thick chocolate chip pancake.
Blueberry, but yes.
That's wrong, but I'll keep going.
We should probably talk about what you have to do with this show, which is everything.
Yeah, so let's think back. What was this? Aisha's birthday brunch.
Yeah, it was my birthday brunch.
And we were chatting, and actually, I think what happened is Chris and I were early/on time, and Aisha and Al
We're on time. We were on time.
on time. And so I think it was Chris and I were talking about it. And
After we first met.
That was
never
when
met
we
before.
That was the
met.
first time that they had ever met.
First time we've ever met in person. Of course, I've heard your voice 1,000 times, and I think I remember remarking that to you. You sound so familiar, but I've never met you. Which sounds like the beginning of every romance novel. But Chris and I, we were talking about this, and you were talking about, I think, potentially going into a YouTube show. And I remember just being like, you guys should do it, because I've listened to your podcast back when it was a podcast, or well, I guess it's completely separate. But I just remember thinking, this is, with Aisha's hair, you can't not do visuals.
Fair.
What else would you do?
Yeah.
And so I think it's only fortuitous for your next step to be into adding the visuals by creating a YouTube video, such as If I Could Churn Back Time. Where you make incredible ice cream and talk about mistakes from the past and how they'd affect your future.
Well, and specifically where you fit into this whole thing is we weren't going to do it because I was stubborn. There were so many roadblocks that I saw in our way to
I didn't know that you were stubborn. You just wanted it to be perfect.
And
and perfect. I had an idea of perfect that was what I'd seen. People with expensive cameras and big lighting setups and studios and whatever. And Aisha told me a couple weeks ago, she's like, what do the kids do? How do all these kids have YouTube channels? What are they doing? And so we kind of looked at that and we're like, all right, well, we have phones, we have stuff, we can make it work. And it was specifically your comment, which in any other conversation might have been just a generic, you go get them, tiger kind of thing. But it happened to be at the right time, the right place, where I just needed that little extra push to be like, there's no reason you can't do this. And that was essentially what you were saying, was just
there's nothing stopping you guys. You already have the potential. You're already making a podcast. What's the one extra step other than getting the video to make a YouTube video? That's the only other thing that was in your way. You guys had all the other ingredients, pun intended.
Yeah.
That is true. And so now here we are, thanks to you, and we made some good ice cream.
Making splendid ice cream.
Yes.
I didn't get to taste any of the other ice creams because I wasn't in the studio, but
I think we still have cookies and cream.
We still have the cookies and cream.
Oh, you still? Okay. I'm but I would like to say that I believe that this ice cream was incredible and should be sold at boutique ice cream stores.
I think so too. This is one we're probably going to keep making more of, bring it to parties, get people into.
And deep inside each cup of lavender chocolate ice cream is a little bit of my childhood trauma.
Just a little bit of regret in every bite. Yeah, that's the beauty of our ice creams.
Yeah, that's what wine tastes like.
Yeah.
Regret.
Just a little bit of trauma.
Just a bit.
A little bit of regret sprinkled on top.
Yeah, and then you just churn that.
Ice cream.
Just turn it around and round and round. Really get into it.
And then it just thickens up and makes
Oh, we are so done. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of I Could Churn Back Time. We're going to call this one done and go back to drinking more and eating more ice cream.